Diamonds in the rough. NFL Draft Diamonds. Time to shine.
Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds, and today I have with me Jake Ellis, who is a tight end out of Truman State. How's your day going, sir?
Oh, not too bad, Jimmy. How about yourself?
Doing great. Jake, tell me just a little bit about yourself. Tell me first where you're from and kind of lead us up to your days there at Truman.
Yeah, so I'm from Rock Island, Illinois. I went to Rock Island High School, and I was a three-sport athlete there. I played baseball, basketball, and football. Later in my career there at Rocky, I kind of wanted to narrow it down to which sport I would want to play in college. So I kind of just stuck it out between football and basketball there. Back then, I loved both sports equally. I was getting recruited by a whole bunch of schools, all from D1s to D2s for football. And I was getting recruited by some D2s, D3s, and NAIAs for basketball. The thing that kind of made me stick with football was definitely my love for the game. I definitely enjoyed playing a Friday night game more than I did playing a Saturday basketball game. So my love for the game kind of drove me towards football. And when I was getting recruited for football, one thing that really stuck out to me was when Illinois State's offensive coordinator came to our practice one day and kind of pulled me aside after practice and asked me, where I was in terms of basketball or football. And he said one point that really stuck out to me, which was, how many 6'7" guys do you see out there on a basketball court? And, in my head, I was like, there's quite a few guys out there. And then he said to me, and then take that to football. How many 6'7" guys do you see that are athletic out there playing football? And I was like, that's a really good point. I definitely stand out a little bit more in the football field. So, my love for the game, and then that point that coach made to me was big in my decision to play football at the next level. And I got recruited by Thomas Kearney here to Truman State University. Really liked the official visit when I came down. The guys all seemed like family. The coaching staff, you could tell it was different here. They really wanted to know who you were. They wanted to get to know your family. It just felt really authentic. And then Truman's also a really good academic school. It's highly regarded in that aspect. So it was kind of a no-brainer for me to come here from Truman instead of trying to walk on at a Division I level, because at the time I was getting recruited. I was at the end of basketball season my senior year. So I was weighing about 215 my senior year, down there at 6'7". So I was pretty skinny back then. But from the time basketball season ended to when I showed up here for fall camp at Truman, I hit the weight room real hard and put on some really good weight and ended up showing up at about 240, 245. So I had that little bit of weight that was missing in terms of recruiting for the bigger school, but I put that on right away, and it's been going good ever since.
Great. So, some interesting tidbits there. So, obviously, I guess leaving high school there, kind of thin. You totally had to put on some weight. Again, you said you're 6'7", so a 6'7" athlete is always very interesting. Whenever you put him out there on the football field. I do have you in my notes, Jake. 6'7", about somewhere between 255 and 260.
Yep.
Depending on whether or not you've actually had a couple meals for the day. So, definitely a decent size there for a tight end for sure. Do you feel like your size separates you as a tight end? What do you feel is the best part about your game, or maybe one of your better attributes that you would be able to offer a professional team?
Yeah, I would say my size and coordination for my size definitely kind of sets me apart. I view myself as a big time receiving threat. I like to go into a game thinking that I'm a matchup nightmare for the other team. And I mean, if you put a DB or a safety on me, they're generally too small. And if you put a linebacker on me, they're generally not quick enough or agile enough to keep up. So definitely like causing defensive coordinators a little bit of a headache going into a game week. And I would definitely say receiving is probably my biggest strong suit as a tight end.
Yeah, I mean, I realize you had over 500 receiving yards in 2019. I mean, obviously, the fall we really didn't have any games. But one of the neat things that I was able to look up was you actually ended up having a over 100-yard game up against UIndy to close things out there in this shortened spring schedule. So being able to put up some great numbers and really be like a go-to target as a receiver is definitely great. I mean, how are you with your blocking? Are you still developing as a blocker, or are you just kind of mainly used as a receiver there?
Yeah, no. At our school here at Truman, we got a big emphasis on running the ball, and that often opens up our play action. So as a tight end, you definitely got to be able to do your fair share of blocking down here. You're basically considered a sixth O lineman that can just basically run out there and catch the ball as well. So blocking's always been something I've been working on. The coaches say that I'm a good to great blocker at times. So I mean, that's something I kind of want to take and bump up to the next level and really go out there and dominate in that facet of the game as well.
So I mean, obviously, guys always have something that they're trying to improve on. So didn't mean to knock you so much there because I mean, I think a lot of people are just like, hey, is this a receiving tight end? Is this a blocking tight end? Is he somewhere in the middle? So that's just kind of what I just kind of figured I'd throw that at you. But I have a general feel. I mean, just given your size and your output there at Truman, that you can more or less do a little bit of both. So which is really good because I mean, you always want to be able to stay on the field. Like you don't want to, have to take guys off the field because like you have another guy that you have to, kind of shove in there in his, you know, with that situation. So like that, we don't have to take you off the field for that sort of thing.
Yeah, no,
Um,
being versatile is definitely a big thing. Definitely helps with the game planning going into that week. So the more multifaceted you can be in helping the team, it's always a good thing.
Gotcha. And what about you as a leader out there on the football field? I mean, do you see yourself as a leader? I mean, just kind of chat with me for a minute about that.
Yeah, I would definitely consider myself to be a leader here at Truman. I would definitely say I'm more of a leader by example rather than a vocal guy who's going to get up in your face and fire you up. We definitely got some guys on the team who can do that, like Jacob Morris, one of our fullbacks. He's a very fiery, competitive guy. Where I'm definitely more of a I would say laid back, lead by example, do all the little things right that guys tend to pick up on. But I'm definitely not afraid to get out there, be vocal, and use my voice when the time's right.
And talk to me a little bit about your preparation when you're, leading up towards a game. I mean, talk to me about maybe like how you do things in the film room and maybe even the weight room there. So, again, just talk to me about your preparation, going into a week's game.
Yeah, so weight room wise, we'll usually work out twice a week, typically early in the week to kind of save our legs and everything. We'll be in there doing some of our core lifts as well as auxiliaries. It will usually last, I guess, about an hour now due to the COVID protocol and everything. So our strength and conditioning coach, Jeremy Dockery, does a really good job in there firing up the guys and making sure everything runs smooth. So I've definitely seen big improvements in the weight room since I've got here. In terms of film, though, we'll usually watch film during or before and after practice a little bit each and every day leading up to the game. And then you're also expected to go and do it on your own time as well. So like I said earlier, one of my roommates, Jacob Morris, him and I tend to put in a great deal of time on film off the field as well.
Cool. And is there like a maybe like a favorite lift or exercise there in the weight room that you want to share? Like what's your go-to there that you're most proud of?
I would definitely say I'm most proud of my power clean for sure. It's I got a pretty long, tall body, so I think it's pretty impressive to move the weight around like I do in there. My power
Right.
clean right now is at about 300, so that definitely my best lift, and always a little bit excited heading into that, knowing that it's on the schedule.
Cool. So 300 is a pretty good number there, I think. I mean, it's great that you got that going on. So, but keep up the good work. I mean, obviously, at some point they're going to ask you to, run all these drills, do the combine stuff. Ask you how many times you can lift 225 and all that jazz. But sounds like you're really moving along and progressing. So, I mean, being able to do, a 300-pound power clean is pretty sweet. So I like that.
Absolutely.
Um, so, Jake, I was just going to ask you kind of I don't know, a little bit of a psychological question. So,
All right.
if you were able to give your younger self just a tidbit of advice, I mean, obviously in hindsight, you always maybe have maybe one bit of advice to give your younger self, or maybe even younger guys that are doing it right now in high school. So, what kind of advice would you give yourself?
I would say mainly just enjoy the time while you're here. I mean, the time goes real fast. Don't take any moment for granted. Uh, Being in the weight room and training your body and eating right, those are all big things that can lead to good performances. I mean, in terms of telling my younger self what I would do better, it'd definitely be back in high school. Probably hit the weight room a little harder, and have a little bit more of a regimented diet like I have here at Truman State now, because that's where I really started to see my body take off and everything. So you always got to do the little things and stack consistent days on top of each other in order to be successful, and that's really what it's all about.
Yeah, and I mean things were a little different back then too, because I mean you kind of had a basketball body back then.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
and then obviously you have grown into being a complete tight end, not just a tall wide receiver, but you've grown into a tight end's body. So obviously it's kind of cool that you've been able to do that. Again, get into the weight room, gain some muscle and all that stuff. So like that. I was just going to ask you, let's just kind of step out of the sports realm a bit, and give guys some sort of insight as to who Jake Ellis is outside of a football player. So tell me something about yourself, maybe some of your interests or hobbies or anything that you want to share with people.
Yeah, so one of my big hobbies is I like to be outside a lot. I like to be in the outdoors, whether it's fishing, hiking, just doing whatever outside, playing a pickup basketball game, anything. I'd much rather be outside than inside. Um, when I am inside, I am a Marvel fan, so all the Marvel movies have to give those a thumbs up. I'd say Black Panther or Endgame would probably be my favorite one out of those, and I mean, you can't go wrong with any of those. So
Yeah, well, I mean, I could probably pick a few out of there that I like a little bit more than others, but yeah, I
for
mean,
sure.
I'm kind of the same way. I mean, each and every time that one of the Marvel things come out, like I got to be like all on top of it, and certainly these days where a lot of things are on, Disney Plus, like we're like
Yeah.
glued to it. So a lot of fun stuff happening with that. So. Um, Share maybe one of your most memorable plays or moments there at Truman. So, any maybe play or a moment out there that just kind of sticks out in your career so far?
Yeah, I would definitely honestly say my very first game as a true freshman. We had a really long, I believe it was like 16-hour bus ride up to the Upper Peninsula, and we played Michigan Tech up there. And it was our first offensive drive, drove the ball down the field. I was told that I'm definitely going to be used a lot that year going in as a freshman. So I was pretty confident in game planning and everything. So we got down, to the red zone on about the 2-yard line. And we call a little snag route for me, backside, soloed up on a corner who was like 5'10". So we knew going into that game that we'd probably take advantage of that matchup. And the snag route's just basically a little out and up. And we run it the first time, and the dude's draped all over me, kind of tackles me and gets like a big PI called. So it's a reset of downs, and kind of look over to my offensive coordinator, Jason Kilday, and kind of gave me a little nod. And I was like, all right, it's on. We're definitely going to do this again because this guy's not going to be able to really stop me. So call it again, make a real good toe tap catch in the back of the end zone for 6. And from that point on, that definitely knew I was something to be reckoned with, at least.
Cool. Well, I mean, obviously, when you've got like a 9 or 10 inches over a guy, I mean, that's definitely a huge matchup for sure. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they got to tell these guys, hey, you can't really do that to him. You have to, I don't know, put a couple guys near him, and maybe a guy that's got like one heck of a vertical or something, because obviously most of these smaller corners, like they can't really compete with a guy your size. I mean, that's just kind of silly, but
yeah, and I mean throughout my career here at Truman, like that's definitely progressed. Like I've seen a lot more double teams. I've seen a lot more attention
right.
from the defense. After I kind of made that initial splash here in the GLVC. So I mean, it's definitely gotten a little bit tougher over the years, but I mean, we're still able to get things accomplished and move the change and score some touchdowns. So.
Great. And so as we begin to wrap up a little bit, I try to ask everybody the why question. So tell me maybe why you play football, and even maybe some of your personal goals for this upcoming season. So go ahead, give me your why, and then we'll talk about maybe some of those goals for this upcoming season.
Yeah. So I mean, why I play football? Obviously, it sounds a little cookie cutter, but just the love of the game. You got to love the grind. You got to love everything that goes into the big moments. You also got to really love the family aspect of it. I really enjoy the team camaraderie, being around a big group of guys and really like getting to know one another. I think it's a really good social aspect that goes into the sport that many other sports might not have, just because of the numbers of the teams. And then like I said, it just all kind of goes back into loving like every day that goes into that moment when you're about to play the game. Because you got a really long off season, especially this past year with COVID and everything. You had an even more extended off season. So you really just got to stay consistent, love what you do, and go out there with the intention to get better every day. And that's something that I always like to strive for.
Gotcha. And one last thing is, I want you to give your like 60-second pitch to professional team. I mean, obviously, we're taking this video now, summer of 2021, and the whole intent maybe is come 2022 to hear your name called in the draft, or to get that opportunity with a professional team. So, what kind of player would they be getting if they took a chance on you?
If a team was to take a chance on me, they'd be getting a guy who works his butt off, is extremely competitive. They'd be getting somebody football-wise who is a big red zone threat, big receiving threat, but as well as a complete tight end, as you mentioned earlier, who's able to block a little bit as well. In terms of a red zone threat, one touchdown away from breaking our all-time school record here at Truman State University. Red zone, big part of my game, as well as being a chains mover as well. The last 2 seasons I've had here, I've averaged over 12 yards a catch. So I'm big third down threat, as well as can be moved all around the field. And I mean, I play a little bit of special teams on PAT field goal, extending the edge and whatnot. So I'm basically willing to do whatever it takes and wherever I'm put to help the team be put in the best position to win.
Yeah, I mean, definitely just kind of going back to the basics. I mean, you're a big dude. So I mean, if I can get a 6'7" tight end, I mean, I'll take that all day. So 6'7", 260-pound guy who can be a great asset on the offense as either a blocker or a receiver. I mean, can't really go wrong with that. So,
Absolutely.
Jake, this has been cool. I mean, I appreciate getting to know you, sitting down with you. I do wish you best of luck moving forward with this season and, going into, obviously next year and the draft cycle as well. So, um, again, great sitting down with you and wish you the best.
Yeah, appreciate it, Jimmy. Thanks for your time.
Sure. Again, this is Jake Ellis. He's a tight end of Truman State. Definitely check him out.